And we're back.
We're back.
Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. None of us do. Our streaming software just completely froze up.
It just went.
So we had to do a hard reboot of everything.
Like you're gonna stop your streaming today, dear. But
Yeah. Matter of fact, I didn't even check my pencil. I had to go back to my 2B pencil. So anyway, hopefully you guys are still there, or somebody's still there.
oh, yeah, we got some folks watching.
Sorry about that. Sometimes it just can't be helped.
Sometimes.
But I did find a way to enlarge the image just a little bit. Stretch. Look at it. I'm stretching those jowls.
Jowls.
There's that neck coming into here. Shoulders. Coming down. Down, down, down.
And to the newcomers that just hopped in, we are animating today on TV Paint, or at least you are.
Yes, I am animating on TV Paint today. This is an old shot that I did a couple months ago with an animation class I did online. But we never really finished all the drawings. I never in-betweened it all. I thought it might be kind of fun to come in and break it down and show you guys how I do that. Keeping everything really loose.
Yeah, still can't believe it's been months of this whole COVID thing going on.
Oh, I know, right? So I get the shadows. What am I saying? The neck. And then the shoulders.
Soon, please, Aaron, paint a puma lounging on a tree branch. I'm stuck in an acrylic painting and need some tips.
You need some tips? Well, not today, pal.
Some point in the future.
Some point in the future. There we go.
Oh, man. Sup, Dustin? Love your daily photos on Instagram. One day I'll upload and tag the sketches from them. Thank you so much. That is awesome. I would love to see those.
That's what I want right there. So when I go in and out, oh, that doesn't do it either. It's one of these buttons. Display. What's that? Let me see. If I go out, I want it to fill. That's centering it.
Is this Snow Bear?
This is not Snow Bear. Oh, that's not what I want. I want this. And then when we go back to 0, I want it to go back to here. There. And it's just not doing it. Well, anyway, we're going to do this. I'm going to blow that up. Bring that down. And then I will remember. There we go. We get another drawing in there. That way you guys can see it.
See? Good day, Aaron and Dustin. Question about an animation portfolio. How advisable is it to add an animation of an existing copyrighted character, even if it's not a complete copy of the original in style and or the way it was made?
Well, I mean, it's not always advisable, but I mean, if my biggest thing is don't make it. Just remember, if you're animating a character that's already copywritten, that means there's already an impression of how that character moves and acts and animates and all that kind of stuff. And so if you have anything that's anything subpar compared to what's out there, you're going to be compared to it, and it's going to be a knock against you. So if you're going to do something that's already copywritten, you better make sure that it's as good as the existing animation of that character or better. That is my advice to you.
Yes, we had some technical difficulties earlier, but we're back up. I love the way you draw your bear, in particular the expressions. Which of your courses would be the one to take to learn to draw like that?
Isn't that the same question we got before about the character design?
I think that's from a different person, but I think this is a latecomer. So.
Oh, well, it's my character design course is the one. I'll talk to you about everything I think about when I design my characters, how I draw them. It's all shape based.
Aaron, do
Yes.
you animate straight ahead every time, or would you talk a bit about it when useful, and not pose to pose in your process?
I'm actually going pose to pose right now. I went certain sections I did straight ahead, like this section right here. When I animated it, I actually animated it straight ahead. But when I hit the other poses, I did pose to pose for those, and so there's a combination in here. And for those of you that don't know what pose to pose or straight ahead animation is, it's for slower animation where it requires a little bit less action and more acting and more subtle animation. Usually that's done with what's called pose to pose, meaning we'll find the poses within that animation, those key poses. Like a character might talk like I'm talking to you right now, and I'm hitting a certain pose, but I'm animating within that pose. And so I'll find that pose, and then I'll find the animation within that. But then there's other animation where I might be running and jumping and doing all this stuff, and there's not really pose to pose as much as it's just a lot of action moving straight ahead. And that's where I would do my straight ahead animation and just animate that action as it's happening. And so it really comes down to how fast is that action. And so here I've got a little bit of a combination, right? So I've got the part where he's hopping back, whoop, 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 you know, that one, whoop, 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 whoop. And then I've got the part where he settles down, he goes, just stay back there, bud.
Just stay back there.
And so that in there becomes pose to pose for me. Whereas the part where in this section here where he's hopping back, it's straight ahead. And right now I'm just adding a few extra drawings to smooth out that action.
Do you have a course of painting with acrylics?
I don't, not yet.
And Abby Lee hopped on. Hey, Abby! Oh my god, an animation demo, yes!
So let's watch it with sound.
Whoa, just stay back there, bud. Whoa, just stay back there, bud. Whoa, just stay back there, bud. Whoa.
So here, you gotta open up that mouth in there. Alright, so gotta get in here and open that mouth.
I'm pretty sure this relates to this here, but have you ever talked about lip syncing animation?
Yeah, that's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
We are lip syncing today. So here, I'm opening up his mouth. This is where it gets difficult because I'm going to open up that mouth through here. And I'm doing a combination of 2s and 1s to keep that animation going smooth. I don't need all of the 1s. Twitch comment, thank you for the break. I managed to grab a cup of tea. You are welcome.
Do you think the portfolio speaks for itself, or is there a minimum requirement of quote unquote knowing the software that could be a decision maker for hiring?
No, I think portfolio speaks for itself. For sure. Your portfolio will tell if you know the software. Now, there might be you might end up in a studio that does proprietary software, but I wouldn't worry about that
It really depends on the
because they're
on the
going to teach
field.
you anyway. Yeah.
Depends on the field and the studio. Like for instance, where I worked at in the 3D industry at Digital Domain, we used a completely different software from what other companies use. And so when the studio shut down, I got to Stereo D. They saw my 3D work, and they hired me for my work there. But they had to teach me their techniques of software because they use a completely different.
Yeah,
one.
that's the proprietary software.
Yeah. And so if you know the very basics of one, it could lead you to the other that a studio might support you with. Yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. To work in the animation field, how many hours do you think an average animator works a day?
Oh, our average was 8 hours a day. We didn't, except in a crunch time. And during crunch periods, we would work 12 hours on average, 12 or 13 hours a day. YouTube. Aaron, I saw the new video. Did you and Proco have fun drawing in the wild? It seems like you really get along. Yes, we do get along. Yeah, there wasn't as much stuff out there that day as I wanted there to be. We got out there a little late, so everything tends to be in bed, sleeping, taking a siesta until the rest of the day can kick in. What am I missing here?
That was a trip down memory lane watching that.
Oh yeah, it was fun, huh?
Yeah. Because that was the first day I ever took my camera out there too. Like
Yeah.
that was my first wildlife photography experience while you guys were drawing and doing.
Well, that was only last year though, wasn't it?
That was last year.
Last March, right?
Yeah, I think it was like early to mid March. And yeah, because like what was it, the day before? It was like a day or 2 days beforehand. That was when I got my first camera, the Canon Rebel T6. And when we went out there, that was my first time taking wildlife photos with my own camera.
Right on.
And look at me now. How long would you recommend to draw every day?
As long as you want. You just draw as long as you want. There's no recommended daily dose of drawing. It's just however long it feels like you should be drawing. So I want to get another right there. Whoops. Z. Let me get another one right there. So this is all going to smooth out a lot through here. The character comes back. YouTube, is there a difference between the movements of a snake and a slow worm for animating? Yes, there is. A snake is going to move like a snake and a worm is going to move like a worm. They both have completely different locomotion techniques. So there is a difference. My recommendation is look at each of them and see what the difference is, and then log that in your brain and animate it.
Should a portfolio only have what you are applying for?
I mean, you could have some secondary things in there, but yeah, it really should just be what you're applying for. That should be the main thrust.
Hey Aaron, can you explain how to know how many drawings it takes, for example, to do a 3-minute demo?
Well, I don't go by the number of drawings it takes. It's just it's 3 minutes, and so, I mean, there's a set number of drawings that go into 3 minutes, but I don't know if I'm going to be using all of those drawings. For me, it's all about the story and the acting and the animation that's going to determine how many of those set number of drawings I'm going to use. 3 minutes. There's put it this way. There's 24 drawings in a second, so 24 times 60 is, we got 0, 4, 2, 8, 10. So there's 1,040 drawings in a minute. Okay, and if you got 3 minutes, then you've got 3,120. So there's 3,120 in 3 minutes. But those are frames. You might not need all of those.
What would you say is the most important thing to keep in mind for acting in animation? I don't have your course yet.
Honesty. You approach that scene with honesty. You feel what's being animated, you know, what needs to be animated. You have to feel it. You've got to get in there, just like any actor has to make a scene real when they're animating or when they're acting it. And the animator has to do the same thing. You've got, if you want that scene to be believable, then you have to believe it when you animate it. You got to be honest. You got to put your heart and soul out there. Otherwise, it's just going to come across as just a character moving across the screen with no emotion. It's going to feel false. It's going to feel robotic. And that you don't want at all. Aaron, did you do any animation on Brother Barry? Yes, I did. I did several scenes. Mainly around the section where he wakes up as a bear. I did a few shots in there with Tanana and Kenai.
What's your favorite thing to draw?
I like drawing everything. I draw all kinds of stuff. So I don't really have a favorite. I love drawing animals, obviously.
I do see you lean towards like half and half between bears and big cats a lot.
Well, that's within the animals, but I'd love to go out and paint landscapes. I like to paint portraits. There's all kinds of stuff I love to paint and draw. You can see how loose I'm being too right now. So I play this.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa.
So you start to see that lip sync happening a little better.
Whoa.
You can see that movement in the beginning a little bit smoother.
Whoa. Just stay back.
So that's what we're working towards. Like right here. Whoops. That's an extreme, and he's definitely in a B shape. I don't need to. I can keep that on a 2. So here he's going to be open mouthed. So I'm going to add an in between in here. Whoops.
Kevin Cleverin says, "Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Did you have you done any new watercolor lately?"
Not lately. No, we've had a lot of rain here lately, actually. All right, I got a big one over here. Twitch question. 2 questions. What's the way to increase our chance? Our chance to be a Walt Disney Animation Company artist is the way going to Cal Arts Institute only? Hello, are the human skull scientific models all right for draw? I mean, isn't there proportion or these things different about theme? Okay, that's obviously translated, so Hopefully this will translate right back. And I'm sorry, I don't know what language you speak, but I'm sorry we don't speak it. I wish I could speak more than English.
Right.
But you know, the only you don't have to. You just have to learn how to animate. You don't have to go to Cal Arts or Ringling College of Art and Design, which is also a big animation school that Disney recruits from. You just have to learn how to animate. And if it happens to be, you know, Cal Arts that you want to go to, then so be it. But there's definitely other ways of learning. A lot of people learn online, and okay, am I in the right place? Yes, I'm in the right place. A lot of people learn online, and I mean, there's a lot of different places to learn from. Hit the O, and it did something.
Hey, Aaron. When animating transparent objects like ghosts, do you draw them as such, or do you draw them opaque and turn down the opacity when the sequence is finished?
You turn down the opacity. I gotta switch pencils here. Actually, I'm gonna save this. So I messed up my pencil, and I don't know how to get it back. So I'm gonna quit out of TV Paint. I'm gonna open it back up. You previously mentioned watching an unfinished cut of The Lion King. Do you know if Disney kept those early versions in their archives? I'd hate to see that history get lost. No, Disney is definitely not dumb enough to lose that. They've got them in their archives for sure.
Yeah, they keep a lot of stuff back there. Don't they, like, keep pretty much everything?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, sure. What should a ninth grader do right now if I want to go in the animation industry?
You got to draw a lot.
Lots and lots of drawing.
You got to draw a lot. You got to learn as much as you can. Pick up. One of the things that I didn't have that you guys have now is this ability to animate. Oops. It's this ability to animate like this, and that to me is awesome. Digitally animate. I need my pencil back.
And does Disney accept foreign animators?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, Alex Cooper-Schmidt was one. Well, was he a foreigner at the time when he
No.
first joined?
No, he wasn't. He was actually a citizen.
Oh, gotcha. Were there any foreigners that joined it while you were there?
Oh wow. Darko, Bronco. We have a lot of folks from China, from all over Europe, England. Or we did.
Hi, Aaron. Do you like drawing animals more than humans because animals give more love than humans?
No, I just like nature.
Are both colors, like the green and purple, are those keyframes, or one color is for in between?
No, this is my onion skin. So the green is the drawing before, right there, and then the purple is the drawing after, the drawing that I'm currently on.
Then the blank is obviously the in between.
Yep.
Which is where you're filling in the blank.
Sweet.
I'll bring that head down a little bit.
Hey, so Travis says, "Good morning, family. Love you all." Love you too.
Good morning.
I miss you too. Hi, Uncle.
YouTube follow-up question. Sorry, I meant the slow worm, legless lizard. Well, a legless lizard does move differently than a snake. They're a lot more squirmy than a snake is, and they really depend on they depend on like really thatchy grass to get through because there's stuff that within that they can push off of.
What group or company would you recommend to do 2D animation for hire? Are you still animating as a freelancer?
No, I don't animate that much freelancing anymore. My business is pretty much has taken over everything.
Hi, Aaron. How often, if ever, do you animate in Procreate?
Not very often, but sometimes. I gotta turn this on. I gotta hear the sound. I gotta get that mouth closed again.
And speaking of Procreate, when you're animating, are you able to add sounds to the animation in Procreate?
I think you. Shoot, I don't remember. I can't remember if you can do that. Nick, do you remember if you can add sound in Procreate? And is there a sound timeline? I'm messing this up. We're gonna start over.
What animators would you recommend to follow for people who want to learn to animate?
Me,
Anybody else?
Andreas Deja, James Baxter. James Baxter is the best, I think. Glenn Keane.
Glenn Keane was your very...
Glenn
very
Keane was
mentor.
my mentor. My mother was born in 1949, Nick. She was 1 year younger than Steven Tyler.
Have you worked with Hispanic animators before?
Oh yes, very many. Mario Menjivar comes to mind. Press Romanios.
Do you know any free or relatively cheap, like under $50 animation programs?
Yeah, I mean, there's Calipeg is going to be one of them for iPad. Procreate is $9. I got to get that mouth closed.
How should one learn to draw before starting to animate stuff like still lifes, models, etc.?
Well, the thing about animation is that you really you want to understand the world from a three-dimensional standpoint. You know, you're reinterpreting the world on paper on a 2D surface, but you're doing it three-dimensionally. And so you don't want to where am I? There we go. You don't want to struggle with any of that. You want drawing to come as naturally as speaking, because it really is your language. That's what we always used to talk about. It should come as easily as you talking. And if it's a struggle, then you got to work at it. And you got to work at it every day, because to sit there and having to animate something and having one of the problems being I can't figure out how to move this in space, that's that's like a poet not knowing a language. You can't do your craft unless you know that language. So you want to get to the point where you really don't struggle with what it is you're trying to get down. That's it's a musician that doesn't know how to do music, that doesn't know how to read music. Although there's a lot of musicians that don't, so that's a bad example. But it's a similar idea.
Dustin, are you an animator too? I am not an animator, and I haven't sketched anything in a very long time. But nowadays, I'm just a photographer and cameraman and all that stuff. So that's what I do now.
Whoa.
So you can see it's getting a little smoother there in the beginning.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
Let's do it this way. There we go.
Whoa. Just stay back there,
How
bud.
does
Whoa. Just stay back there.
So now
Whoa.
I finally got that mouth shape, because I was skipping a couple of those mouth shapes in there. Finally got it to where I like it.
Whoa.
Did Dustin get to Japan last year? Nope.
No. I really want to go. I'll get there.
He did not.
In fact, the Japan trip went under, right?
Yeah,
And instead went to the Manchester trip.
exactly.
So
So he got to England,
yeah, I got
which
to
is
England,
better
and
than
that
a
was like,
sharp stick in the eye, I tell you.
and that was a really good first event photography, I would say, for me. So that was definitely a great experience going out there.
Yeah. YouTube question. You previously mentioned watching an unfinished. Oh, I saw that. YouTube question. Hey, in Brother Bear, how did they animate the lights surrounding and moving during Kenai's transformation? We used some hand-drawn animation, CG animation. We mixed it all together, and it was a big process. Trust me. That I can't explain in 2 minutes here. But it was a lot of. There's a lot of hand-drawn, computer animated, computer assisted.
How does one do rotoscope the right way, like those old Disney movies?
Well, you don't want to trace every frame. What I did was I'd find the keyframes. When we did Pocahontas, we had to use live action reference, and so what I would do is just find the key frames and then do my own animation to fill everything in. And it gave it less of a rotoscope feel.
I have a question about this stream. I noticed that you stream both on Instagram and on Facebook. Can I ask how you do that?
Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, so what we do is we use a software called OBS.
Oh, BS.
OBS. It's a open broadcast software. That's the initial streaming app that we use here, but we outsource it to a site called Restream. And on Restream, you can set up multiple platforms, so that way you can stream out to all these platforms at once. So not only are we streaming on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, but we're also streaming on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, and I think that is it.
Yeah, all at the same time.
As well as Facebook and Instagram, all 5 places at the same time, using Restream. So that is how we do it.
That is how we do it.
This is how we do it. Who does the voice for the bear? Is it Dustin or Aaron?
Dustin.
Whoa, just stay back there, bud.
No sound in Procreate. Right, so there is no sound in Procreate, but there is sound in Calipeg. Nick just answered the question.
Can you sometime do a color demo on TV Paint animation?
Yeah, we could do that down the road. I think when we get down the road with once I get back onto Snow Bear, we're going to be doing a lot more live streaming while I work on Snow Bear. So you'll be basically looking over my shoulder as I work.
Mariana Garcia.
Question: do you think you can draw Old Yeller from the movie? If I could see him, I could. So go ahead, listen.
Mariana Garcia is asking, have we ever seen or heard Nick? Is he even real? Am I real?
Nope, Nick is not real.
Nick is a figment of all of our imaginations.
So I got to hit. Okay, I got to do another open mouth here, but then the next one I got to change that to a closed mouth.
Martin says that Nick has a pixel face and lives in the closet behind Aaron.
I call him the Gimp.
Yeah.
Better get the Gimp.
Hey, Gabby.
Debbie.
Says, hey guys, I'm at work, but I'm just saying hi. What's going on today?
Well, we're animating today.
Animation.
No sound in Calipeg either. Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought there was. Twitch question. Hey, Aaron, have you ever animated on 3s or 4s? Is it possible to animate 3s or 4s, but movements be smooth? Not really, because our eyes are able to pick that up. Well, actually, I take that back. If you want to do something at 60 frames a second and then animate on 3s or 4s, yeah, you could probably do it. But you have to be animating at 60 frames a second. But not for 24 frames. It won't play smoothly. But this is all of this right here. The first half of this animation was all on 3s. I animated it all on 3s. Now I'm in betweening it to 2s and 1s to smooth out the animation.
Would you please save this live stream on Instagram?
No.
Unfortunately,
Just say no.
Just say no?
Just say no.
Well, we saved the video. We saved it on Facebook and YouTube, but I don't think we're able to save it on Instagram.
No, we're not able to save it on Instagram. But if you go to my my YouTube channel, all of my streams are saved there, and you get the full screen. Instagram, you're not getting the full screen.
What's the frames per second you're currently using?
24. 24 frames per second.
Weren't you planning to hire help for Snow Bear?
Nope. No, we're doing it all ourselves. I've got my slave labor right here sitting next to me.
What?
What? Dustin's going to learn how to paint a shot.
Just watch you, like you show me how to do it, then the very next day, it's just the whole screen's just gonna be blue.
Well, the good thing about that is it can easily be reset. YouTube, what's your TV paint canvas size? This is not a regular 1080 by 1920. But I can go higher if I want. I just, it's heavier to play back when you do that. So, and this is just a simple shot. So I didn't want it to be too heavy. Do
you normally animate on 1s or 2s?
Combination. a combination. Like if you look at now, if you look at my timeline down at the bottom, it's a combination of 2s and 1s all the way across.
And what is the difference between 1s, 2s, and 3s?
There's a number of frames. 1s are drawings that are held for 1 frame. 2s are drawings that are held for 2 frames. 3s are drawings that are held for 3 frames, and so on and so forth.
Whoa. Just stay back
What
there,
was your
bud.
first job as an artist or animator?
I was a cleanup artist, meaning I was assistant. So it was my job to be the assistant to the animator, and I was my job to take his rough drawings and redraw them, the key drawings, redraw them into the pristine drawings that you see up on the screen.
That was pretty much everybody's, every animator's first job, right?
Pretty much. A lot of them started out there, yeah. There we go. I wanted to get that. Boop, boop, boop. There. There it is. There.
I think this big teddy bear is fed up with cuddles. A little bit. He's just being cautious with the whole COVID going on. Just stay back there, buddy.
Stay back there, bud.
Which version of TV Paint are you using?
11.
11.
11.0.8.
What company did you work for in your first job?
Well, my first job, it was, my first job was working for my father in landscaping. Working for my stepfather, mowing yards. We had 35 yards a week to cut.
What was your first?
And then my first job outside of my father was delivering pizza for a little, I can't remember the name of the joint, but I delivered pizza. And then after that, I because I had learned drafting and learned how to render in perspective from my stepfather, because he went to Syracuse for interior design, and he taught me perspective when I was 8. And so over the years through high school, I taught myself how to render in perspective, and I could render buildings. And so I ended up getting a job when I was 17 or 18 at an engineering firm, doing, based on the renderings, but I also was drafting for them because I learned how to do drafting in high school. So that was my first real kind of professional job as a 17-year-old. And then when I turned 18, that's when I worked there until I left for school for Ringling and headed off to Ringling.
Then after that, you became an animator, right?
Yep. Get that nose right.
Is it good for a beginner to start animation in 24 frames per second?
Yeah, I mean, because that's the standard. So yes, it is. Learn it the way it's supposed to be learned. The difference between, what's the difference between an in between and a breakdown? A breakdown. Let's say I have to do an arc in my arm. I'm going to move my arm in this arc, and I have to put drawings in there to describe the movement. Okay, and I want it to arc around like that. Well, the first key drawing is going to be my arm here. The next key drawing is going to be my arm up here. Those are the two extreme drawings, right? But it needs to be described as an arc, right? So the breakdown in between is going to be my arm over here, because that tells you basically the direction that it's going in, okay? Now you could argue that this is also a key, in which case the next breakdown would be my arm here, but describing, it's not a straight in between because it's the path that it needs to take. It has to be described as an arc. And then once I get to the point where I really can just do drawings between drawings, those become the in-betweens. But it's the breakdown that is still, it's not quite a key, but it could be, because it's still describing an action, but it's not quite it's not an absolute key because it doesn't have a lot of the key information is already in the other drawings surrounding it. I hope that makes sense.
There's an interview with Glenn Keane when he was making the short film Duet, where the person that hired him said, "I would like it to be animated at 60 frames per second," and he thought, "Well, that'd be great for you, wouldn't it?"
That's true.
I guess it's more time consuming and much slower to draw in a higher frame rate speed, right?
Of course. Well, think about it. It's either 24 frames per second, that's 24 drawings per second that go by every second, or 60. I'd rather do 24.
Yeah, 60. Like, say for instance, like how long is it taking to work on Snow Bear? Like if you were to work on Snow Bear 24 frames per second from start to
It's
finish.
gonna take, well, if we actually worked on it, it'd take about a year.
About a year. So how long would it take instead of 24 frames to make it?
It'd take about
60?
a year and a half.
So a lot longer.
Yeah. But you get smoother action.
Oh yeah.
But you don't need the smoother action. That to me is not. That's not what animation's about. I mean, yeah, you can have some smooth action, but you get it with 24. You know, how smooth you make it. That's not to me. That's not the draw of animation. Oh my gosh, look how incredibly smooth that is. No, that's not the draw. Is to be able to create life, create characters that emote and make you cry and get excited and all that. And you don't need 60 frames to do that. You need 24. Actually, I argue that you don't need 24. You can do it. You can do it with like Miyazaki, where he does a lot of 4s and 8s and 6s and all kinds of stuff. It's a good story.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa.
There, we got that lip sync working right finally.
Whoa.
See that mouth going like crazy? Look at that mouth going like crazy in the beginning. Up, 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 up.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
So I'm going to jump ahead. Jump ahead. Actually, I'll do these in betweens in here.
Stay back there, bud.
Just stay back here, bud.
Turn that off. And let's add an in between.
In between.
An in between.
Do you prefer Procreate or Photoshop?
Photoshop. I like Procreate. I like working on, but I'd rather be working at my big computer in Photoshop than on my iPad. You know, I just like it better.
Will this be posted on YouTube?
Yes, the live stream will.
Yes.
Yes. Have you ever thought of animating for a game? Well, funny you should ask. I actually animated for the Sega games for Lion King. Is it Genesis? For Lion King and Aladdin back in the day, back in the 90s.
I think it was Genesis back then.
And so I animated a lot of the character movements of Simba running and having to swing through the trees and all that kind of stuff. That was me and the other guys at the studio animating all that.
What are you and Nick working on these days?
Well, mainly the website. We're mainly trying to get a lot of content out. Once we get that, we want to get back to Snow Bears as quickly as we can. But it's just hard to do when we've got a lot of content that we need to get out.
Manny just hopped in.
Manny!
Manny!
TV Paint Day, Manny.
Can you have, for specific parts of the film, different frame rates? Or does it have to have the same all the way through?
It has to be the same frame rate all the way through because the camera doesn't change, or the projector or whatever. But you can fake it. You just can't make it go smoother than what the frame rate actually is. You just can't get it to go any smoother. But you can make it go rougher.
Yeah, like one of the ideal examples where I feel they've bent or maybe even broken the rules a little bit is Spider-Verse.
Well, they changed styles there.
Yeah. Because like one... Yeah, because
But
one
they're not
has-
changing frame rate.
Well, wasn't it like the older Peter Parker, isn't he? Like they animated him in ones, but Miles was when you first meet him was more in like 2s and 3s.
Yeah, but it's still the same frame rate.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, they did. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, more.
So, Manny, I drew a ferruginous hawk today. North America's largest hawk. Manny knows that. And I'm not sure if we're going to be out there, but in July. But we'd sure like to see if we are. But Dante and I might head out there for a long weekend in July.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We were talking about it.
Up to
Yellowstone. Or Tetons. Because she ain't never been.
never been. Well, I just might have to buy my own ticket and tag along with you.
Yeah. Whip, 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 whoa.
Whoa.
So you
You're
can
just
see,
staying in
even though I
Florida.
have a combination, this is what I want you to see. This is a good lesson here. Well, I gotta bring it back. You know, there's a big combination of 1s and 2s in here. This one's 2s, then we got 3 1s, then we have a 2, then we have 2 1s and a 2, 2 1s and a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 1s, then a 2, then a single 1, then a 2. So you can see that it jumps back and forth, but when it plays, it actually plays smoothly. That's because when I hit key poses, I can leave them on for 2 because it's going to change direction, and so you don't perceive that as sticky animation.
When did Marshall become your stepfather? Were your parents divorced?
No. Marshall is not my stepfather. Marshall is my biological father. Yes, my parents were divorced. My parents and Marshall, my father that you guys probably know of, they split up when I was 5 years old back in 1973. My stepfather, John Austin, who my daughter is named after, her name is Austin, he basically raised me with my mother when I wasn't with my father and his wife. And so he became pretty much my father as well. Well, not pretty much. I was one of the lucky guys that had 2 dads growing up. Because my stepfather treated me as his own son, which I was very lucky. He was a good man. He passed away several years ago. But he was very much a good man. And another artist, and supported me in, wanting to become an artist. As did the rest of my family. So when it came to that, I was very lucky in having that in my family.
Will you do a course on how to draw environments and vehicles?
Well, we're going to do one on how to draw environments, and we're looking at someone else to teach that. Someone I don't want to announce yet, but if we get to the point where we can announce it, everyone's going to go nuts. So it'll be really cool. I got one over here. Hold on.
Do you guys like?
I just said hold on.
I'm sorry.
What can a 33-year-old do with his art? Is it too late for me? Yes. Give it up. 33, you're too old. Oh, come on, man. 33, you're just getting started. Man, no, it's not. It's not too old. You can do anything you want. The only thing holding you back is you. You just got to do it. Just do it. It's like a Nike commercial. Just do it.
Just do it. As Shia LaBeouf once said. Can I ask a question now?
Yeah.
Do you guys like anime, or specifically Studio Ghibli? Well, what do you think about its art style?
Yeah, I love Studio Ghibli. I've been there and I've met with Miyazaki and been through the whole studio and just absolutely love what they do. I think it's stunningly beautiful. I really love the backgrounds. The animation's great, but I just love the backgrounds, the layouts, the visual storytelling. I think is incredible. And so yeah, that's my long answer is that.
I absolutely love anime, as Dad knows. I'm a huge Hayao Miyazaki fan, but also I love the work of I can't remember his first name, but Watanabe. He did a lot of the Gundams back in the late '80s, early '90s, and also he did my all-time favorite anime, Cowboy Bebop. So yeah, I love that kind of anime style.
YouTube question: to finish 1 hour movies like Beauty and the Beast, actually Beauty and the Beast was 1 hour and 20 minutes. How many animators do you need and how long does it take? How much is the budget? Just the animators. Wow, very specific. Well, first of all, Beauty and the Beast is not one to judge because that's 25 years ago. Nowadays, if you want to do 2D, your whole budget for the whole movie, if you look at Klaus, which they did a fantastic movie for $40 million. Just the animation is probably about 10 million of that. No, about 5 million of that. Maybe somewhere in between 8 million of that. I'm guessing. When I did Brother Bear, it was a different time and they spent a lot more money. Our budget was $90 million. So it fluctuates. But things are you're able to do things, if you pick a style of making your film smartly, then you can do it more cheaply. Your art direction is going to have a lot to do with how you do your film.
Aaron, could you explain halves and thirds for animation?
Well, halves and thirds are exactly that. So if I have a circle here on one drawing, and I have a circle over here on another drawing, and I have to move that circle in one drawing, well, if I want it to go evenly, then I do it on a half. So here, and I'm arcing it over, so here I'm putting that circle halfway across. And then if I want to smooth it out even more, I do a half there and a half there. So then we have that. Now if I want that movement to slow out and slow in, then let's say I put my half right there, but now I want to follow this arc across, and I want to do a third now. So I'll make it a third close to this one and a third close to this one. So now it slows in and slows out, and I might even do it even closer, a third right there and a third right there. So it really slows in. So it's really the thirds, halves, all that kind of stuff. It just comes down to the spacing between your drawings.
Do you miss 2D animation in movies?
Yes, but I think it's making its comeback with, Klaus is a great example. Netflix is really going nuts. So I think it's going to come back, and we're going to see it streamed. I just hope the content is good. There's a lot of stuff being done, but I don't feel like there's a lot of great content being made, story-wise. Other than Klaus, I loved Klaus. Now, granted, I haven't seen a whole lot of other stuff.
Can you explain slow in and slow out?
I just did. But I'll slow it. I probably blazed over it, kind of blazed over it. I kind of went over it a little quickly. A slow in is, watch my hand. See, it slowly comes.
There we go.
Watch my hand. It slowly comes to a stop. Okay, that's a slow in. I'm slowing into that pose. I'm going, eh? So I'm slowing into a pose, and then when I slow out, so you start slow and you speed up. And the way you do that is you make your drawings progressively closer, 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 till they're on top of each other, whether you're going in or you're going out. And that's how you do a slow in or a slow out.
It's kind of like somebody getting thrown up in the air and falling back down.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah, when you hit the apex, when you hit the top of the pose, you're going to slow into it and then slow out of it. And it is hot in here, isn't it?
It's a little bit.
Well, toasty.
It's a little toasty there, but just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So here I'm just scribbling in his pose. And this is, I'm actually doing a slow in right now. He's slowing in. Each in between I do is getting tighter and tighter to the main drawing, to that final key drawing.
Sir, do you provide courses? Also, if not, please do. We students can learn a lot with your guidance.
Provide courses?
Courses. Probably.
Well, that's
probably
someone that
fresh
doesn't know.
newcomer.
Yes, I provide lots of courses. In case you did not know, go to creatureartteacher.com.
Unfortunately, Instagram can't see the whole text, but
Go to
creatureartteacher.com.
Creature Art Teacher. I've got free courses. I've got cheap courses. I've got all kinds of courses coursing through my veins. Do I have courses? I got courses. Horses and courses.
For the slow in and slow out question, they can download Fundamentals of Animation by you free, and to help with that answer with the
Yep.
in and out.
Exactly. YouTube question. What's a reason you would do slow ins and slow outs versus even pacing? Even pacing is, if I did that, it would be, I'd look like a robot. Everything would go. That's how it would move. Especially if I want to stop in a pose and hold a pose like I'm doing here. Watch when he goes whip, 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 that first phrase, and he hits a pose. Watch.
Whoa. Just stay back there.
Okay, so when he says woo, he hits a pose. If I just go, it's just going to look like a robot. I want it to slow in. That's how we naturally move. So he's going to go whip, 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 woo, and it slows in. It becomes more natural feeling.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
See there? And then at the end when he goes, bud, he's slowing into that as well. I don't have all the drawings in there yet, but you can see the ones that are there are progressively spaced closer and closer.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
So that's why we use slow-ins and slow-outs, arcs. If you can master slow-ins, slow-outs, and arcs, you're halfway there. That's what gives you fluid, entertaining animation. Can't speak. Ooh.
Ooh.
I'm going to put another one here. Now I'm going to put it on 4s.
What part of the movie do you like to most being part of?
Well, I like being part of the whole film. I love directing because during the course of the film, your responsibilities change, and so I'm part of everything in the creation of that film, from writing through color balance at the end, post production, final mix, and I love being part of all that. Now my favorite though is probably the beginning. It's the most exciting time for me because the story is still new and the possibilities are still really big, and it's really exciting at that point to really kind of come up with a story and bring it together in a really cohesive way, and start building characters and creating something that's got a lot of life to it, and you can tell that it's going to be, it's going to make people laugh, it's going to make them cry, whatever it might be. And that, to me, where it gets really exciting. And I've been a part of that several times, and I love that part, because it's that stage where you're constantly thinking about the film. Now, obviously, you're always thinking about it anyway, but there's a point where you're constantly problem solving the story, and you can't get it out of your head. It's in my head first thing I wake up in the morning, when I go to take a shower in the morning, when I first go to bed at night. It's always there, and I'm always thinking about it. I'm always trying to solve it, and that's when it's most exciting for me. And then, they're always going to have story issues along the way, and so don't get me wrong. I mean, there's nothing is solved until you've released the movie, but there is an early stage where it's really exciting. But it's like I said, it's all exciting. There's just that early stage. What is your opinion on Joaquin's portrayal of the Joker? I thought he was pretty brilliant, and as soon as I heard that they had cast him, I thought it was a no-brainer, and I could see, Joaquin's an interesting guy to work with, and I had some really cool experiences working with him. But there's a very unique way that you work with him. He takes a lot of work to get it to come out of him. He's a naturally kind of insecure actor, but once he starts getting comfortable with the character, it just starts to come out of him, and that's what we did with him on Brother Bear. And that's one of the things I loved about him, is that he treated Brother Bear just as seriously as he treated his role in Gladiator, and so we really had an interesting time, and I don't mean interesting, great. It was cool, and I learned a lot, and he was a cool guy to work with, and but I do know that there's a side to him that's just that he can tap into, that's really, really amazing. And so when they announced him, like I said, is for the Joker, I just went, yep, that makes total sense, because of how good of an actor he is.
What's it feeling like when your work is done? It must feel amazing.
Ooh.
It feels great.
Great. It feels just right.
Yeah. So here I'm doing the slow in, really slow in. I don't want any drawings held for longer than 4 frames for this part. I'd love to have all the drawings done, but we're not going to get them all done today. Besides, at this point, I'm almost doing drawing over drawing. They're moving so little. You can see how they've gotten tighter and tighter as I've sat here talking about slow-ins. The slow-ins, the in-betweens themselves have gotten tighter and tighter.
Dustin, are you playing an instrument? Unfortunately, no, I haven't. When I was younger, I tried learning guitar, but I ended up giving up on it. But I do a lot of singing, if that counts as an instrument, using your vocals as an instrument. But yeah, besides that, yeah.
I wish you would have kept up with the guitar. You were doing good when you were a kid.
I think I was just stuck with like to where I was most comfortable at, where it was like the very, very basics, and I just didn't want to go any further beyond that.
Yeah, you don't want to push yourself, huh?
Yep. Are you?
All right, I got one. Hey, Aaron, would you talk about moving holds and how anticipation is related to that? Maybe in a future video. I can. Anticipation is not really related to moving holds, and moving holds are basically, we call them moving holds because you don't want to hold just a single drawing because it absolutely just dies on the screen, especially when you're used to seeing 24 drawings or 12 drawings going through at a time, then all of a sudden a drawing holds. Now you can make them work. I usually make a hold work by not having the whole drawing hold, but just certain parts of it, and you can get away with that. Or you do what's called a moving hold, which is where you basically do a trace over of the same drawing, let's say 5 or 6 times, and then you randomly play those 5 or 6 drawings so that it doesn't move anywhere, but the line has a little bit of life to it, and that makes it blend in with the rest of the animation better. Now, anticipation is something completely different. Anticipation is whether it's a facial anticipation, a mental anticipation, a physical anticipation, it's that getting ready to do an action that we see people do. It's the batter that goes to hit the ball, he brings the bat back first before he swings it. That's the anticipation. When you go to punch somebody, you come back and then you go and punch. That's the anticipation. And when I go to talk, I might take a breath before I start to talk. That's an anticipation. So those are all slightly different examples of what anticipation is.
Are you a perfectionist with your work?
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
Am I what?
Are you a perfectionist with your work?
Yes.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
So you can see how he's slowed down.
Just stay back there, bud.
Whoa, and he's slow. Now he's.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa.
There. YouTube comment. You're blowing my mind right now. I didn't know he was Kenai. I had to Google who he played to understand what you were talking about. Yeah, he was Kenai. Yes. Yes. Yes, young grasshopper. Oh,
I've got problems to create my own stories. I feel like everything is already made. Do you have any tips?
I keep hitting the wrong keys and changing my tools. What now?
I'm having problems to create my own stories, but I feel that like everything is already made. Do you have any tips on that?
Yeah, stop looking over your shoulder and comparing yourself to other stories. Because everything is already made. But they're all made in different combinations. Think about music. Music consists of 12 notes. There's the same 12 notes. There's only 12 notes in music. 12. That's it. But you've got an infinite amount of music that's made from 12 notes. It's the same thing with storytelling. It all depends on the flavor that you put with it. It all depends on the combinations that you put into it. There's so many different combinations, different ways of telling the same story, or not the same story. Different ways of combining story elements that create new stories. But there really is, there's a set number of basic stories that we all hear over and over, whether it's the romantic comedy or the action adventure or whatever it might be. Sure, it might feel like it's been done before, but put your spin on it, make it personal to you. Find the adventures that you've experienced and put those into your story, and that's what's going to make it original. So I'm going to smooth this out. Just stay back there, bud.
Stay back there, bud. Aaron.
Yes?
Can you do a course on how to use voice recognition technology in a lift?
You just had to use that question,
in
didn't
Scotland. How long would that course be?
About
11. You can thank Martin for that. do you mentally prepare yourself for your day?
To get out of bed. That's just not. I just get out of bed. I don't. My days aren't that hard. You know, I make. I basically, it's my job to access the knowledge that I've been able to gather over the last 35 years, and kind of digest it into demonstrations and on these courses that we create. And so I really enjoy doing that. And oops, did I hit the wrong? There we go. I want to see something here. I got to turn the sound back on. Yep, I'm on the right side. Just got to keep it in an S shape.
In an S shape, you say?
Yeah.
Are you a happy person?
Yeah. So look, I'm going to anticipate his S shape. Push that S shape, just stay. So I've got that S, but I'm starting to open his mouth for the stay. Stay back there, bud. So he's going to start to open his mouth, but he's not saying it yet.
I always get tired when I make in between frames. If I skip them, is the animation gonna look poor?
Yep. Yep. Doing the in-betweens is the section that is a part that everyone always hates.
But
You
it's
gotta-
not the most vital.
No, it's not the most vital, but it's the best. That's the part that just makes the animation sing. What's the possibility of Cell animated show being ever being made again? I would say next to zero. To me, the only reason someone would do Cell animation is to be like the hipsters of animation. There's so many much more efficient ways of doing animation than doing Cell animation, and I don't know what it would say other than, "Hey, we did it." I mean, you can still do hand-drawn like I'm doing now, but there's no reason to go back to Cell. I mean, you could do it. I mean, you'd physically have these painted cells, which would be cool, I guess.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa.
Way out
Just
of.
stay back there, bud.
Way out.
Hold on, I'm looking at something.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
I want to hit this.
Almost ready?
No, hold on.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
I had to push his.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
I'm going to try it even
Just
more.
Just
Push it one more frame.
Nice
stay
good
back. Whoa. Just stay back. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Ready?
Nope.
Okay.
Got to figure this out, you know? Just stay back there, bud.
Just stay back there, bud.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
There we go. All right, got it now. Sorry.
Ready?
Yes.
This question is way off topic, but do you think there are aliens?
You made me have to. You interrupted me 3 times and had me wait to ask me that question.
Yes.
Yes, I do think there are aliens. Do I think they've ever visited us? No. Do I think that the odds of them ever visiting us are low? Yes. I don't think the odds of an alien finding our planet in the deep reaches of space are very likely. I think what we see as UFOs are either military craft or just something that we don't understand, that we haven't been able to. But are they people from another planet? No, I don't think they are. That's my answer that everyone always hates. I think we're more likely to be visited from another time, and that's what we see, than to be actually visited by an alien race. Now, are there aliens? Yes. The odds of them being of life being elsewhere in the universe is almost 100%, if it's not 100% already. But the odds of life being able to find us at the same time in history that we're here, and that they had the technology, and there's so many variables that would have to be so incredibly precise and perfect for us to be found. It's like finding a speck of dust in a mall. It's just incredibly unlikely in my mind. But that's my opinion. So take it with a grain of salt. How much is video footage used in animation for reference as opposed to pure invention in a professional studio? Is it a combination of both? It's mainly a combination of both. Definitely a combination of both.
Does confidence have anything to do with being a great animator?
Yes. If you're nervous and doubt yourself, then you're always going to be changing your animation. You'll never get it done. You'll always just be working it. I saw guys doing this at the studio all the time. And unfortunately, you end up not really succeeding. But if you have the confidence, knowing that you can do it. Now, don't get me wrong. There's days that I would get a shot and go, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do this," and I'll worry about it and sweat about it and everything else. But then I kind of pull my wits together and just start to pick away at it. And next thing you know, 2 weeks later, this shot that I thought was impossible is done. But you do have to have that confidence. Twitter comment: I really appreciate the reference images and video you include in the Wolf, Fox, and Coyote course. They're the best I've ever gotten. Oh, that's great. Well, I'm glad you can use them. We were lucky enough to, be able to get around those animals and really get a lot of photographs and reference material from them.
Or it says, if talking about the alien question, if aliens would search for intelligent life, they wouldn't go to Earth. No, I'm sure there's a border around Earth, and any aliens go past it like, nope, hazard warning.
Yeah.
Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
So I'm just breaking this all down and through here. Just stay back there, bud.
How many people would you think would take to animate a 1 hour feature 2D animation?
How long would it take to do what?
How many people would it take to animate a 1 hour feature of 2D animation?
Well, it's 1 hour is not a feature. It's an hour and 20 minutes. It's 84 minutes, 90 minutes, something like that. And it takes, from when we would make our films, from concept, where we just get the idea for the movie, to where we would actually start to make it, to getting it done and in theaters, it usually took us 4.5 years to 5 years. Sometimes 6. Brother Bear took us 6 years to get made. So you got to really be in it for the long haul. here, what I want to do is hold on this S shape just a little longer.
And to all the latecomers who are asking, the software that he's using is TV Paint.
TV Paint. Yep. TV Paint.
TV Paint.
Nick says, I imagine some people could appreciate the hand-colored aspect of cells, the hipster / artisanal handcrafted animation crowd, if you will. But budget-wise, nah. That's exactly my point, Nick. I totally agree with you. He's talking about cell animation. I mean, you could still build a house with a handsaw, going out and fell trees, you know, and cut your own lumber from those trees and do all that, but wouldn't you just rather go to a lumber yard and use electric saws to make it?
Right.
Well, that's basically the same as doing cell animation. You can do it. It's just not the most effective way of doing it anymore.
Rihanna says 6 years to make a 2D movie.
Yeah.
Or Marvel's out there making movies like they're cookies.
Yeah, but no, those movies are still taking 6 years. They all overlap. Those movies been in the works for years and years and years. So the live action is a little quicker, but they still have a ton of visual effects, and it takes years for them. So I think their movies are taking 3.5, probably 4 years. I think. Now they're because they're all overlapped. That's why it feels like they're making a new movie every year. It's not they don't just make a movie and then make another movie. They've got tons of movies all in different phases of production.
Yeah.
In fact, just stay back there, bud.
For the Lord of the Rings, did they film all 3 projects all at once?
Yeah.
Just stay back there, bud.
We pretty much got there. I just got something here.
Stay back there, bud.
I'm gonna in between him going into his last pose.
What was the most bizarre character design you ever saw that also was epic?
I don't know. Richard Williams did some really great character designs that were really epic. You know, the magician from Thief and the Cobbler, who had 6 fingers and was all animated on ones and nothing stopped moving, and oh my gosh.
Which one was that?
The Thief and the Cobbler. That Richard Williams. It ended up getting taken over by Sony, I think. And they finished it. They took it from him. He'd been working on it for over 20 years. And they just put a lot of bad animation in it. Huh?
This one?
Yes. Now find the magician. And look up his animation. There's some old pencil tests of the magician. I think he's voiced by Vincent Price, actually. Ooh, whoa, messed up on that eyeball.
Oh, this guy?
Yes. Now, if you could see the old animation from that he did back in the, I don't know, mid 70s, early 80s. Some amazing stuff in there. That was brilliant work.
Yeah, I'm seeing a quick.
Are you watching it? Yeah, that stuff. Look at that.
That is
Look at that.
Smooth.
Look at the cards.
How?
Exactly.
How? And just.
That's some of the best animation I've ever seen.
It's, to everyone that's watching, if you go to YouTube and look up Zigzags playing cards, dash the Thief and the Cobbler.
Yeah, maybe Nick can put up the link to it.
Yeah, it's a 20-second long clip.
Zigzag playing cards. It's one of the best pieces of animation I've ever seen. Done by Richard Williams.
That is crazy. I end up repeating it like 2-3 extra times just to try to understand all the detail.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, I saw it before it was in color. I saw it in pencil test, and it blew my mind.
We haven't heard anything from Vedanta today. Is she okay?
Oh yeah, where is Vedanta? She said she went out. She was going to come back later.
Oh, that's right, Erica. Hi, Erica. When I mentioned about Lord of the Rings all being filmed at once, they said they did the same thing for the Hobbit as well.
Yeah, an Avatar. Or at least the latest Avatar.
Of the Avatar movies? Really?
Yeah, the latest ones, because they've got 3 more coming out, and they've shot all of them at once.
Well, I thought they were just having 2. I thought it was just a trilogy.
No, I think they have. Well, I could be wrong. I thought it was 3 more. So here we go. So this will be the last drawing. So this is how you handle folks that get too close to you at the grocery store during the COVID days. Yep, 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 yep.
It says the Zigzag video was uploaded in 2016. When was the movie itself made?
Oh shoot! Well, like I said, Richard Williams I think started The Thief and the Cobbler. You'll have to look it up for the history, but I think it was back in the 60s he started it. Or maybe early 70, 1970-ish. Because I know when I came in the mid 80s, he had been working on it for 20 years. And he would get funding, a little bit of funding here and there, and finally the folks he had been getting the funding from took it away from him and got it made at Sony, I think finished at Sony, and just they ruined it. Does confidence have... we answered that one. I have a problem. Oh, they've officially announced 4 more Avatar movies, Dustin.
Oh, 4?
Yeah. I have a problem keeping my characters consistent. Any advice for this? Yeah, and I go over this a lot, actually, in my character design course. And that's you want to have your characters that are built off of simple shapes. You can build details off of them. I have a feeling that you're probably just working your characters and drawing the details and not really thinking about what's the overall shape. You know, like this guy is a circle with kind of this mushroomy shape attached right here, and then right about a third of the way down the circle is where his eyes are, and I can get that nose there, and you know, so in that way I can keep his look consistent like that, see? So I think about simple shapes like that and how they're combined. Combine them in simple ways. Think about your characters in 3D. Don't overcomplicate your characters. And then make sure that you can draw your character easily in 3 dimensions. That will help you draw your characters more consistently.
How do you build up your skills for storyboarding? How do you build skills for sketching human anatomy via sketching?
You build up your skills by sketching. If you want to build up your sketching skills for human anatomy, draw a lot of people.
Just stay back there, bud.
And how do you build up your skills for storyboarding? You
just stay back there,
board up random stuff? Or...
Yeah, storyboarding. I mean, you study cinema, study cutting, study staging. You know, the the psychology of staging and cutting and all of that. You know, you don't want to cut from a shot until you absolutely need to. You don't want to stage a shot in a way that doesn't make any sense or doesn't support the psychology of what's happening in a shot. Let's say you have a character that's, you know, really scared and feeling down. Well, maybe you want to make them really small in the right side of the frame and so that they feel like the weight of the frame, the weight of the world is coming down on them. That's just a very simple explanation, but there's so many different ways of staging and framing and cutting, and those are the things that you want to understand. Read as many books as you can. Bruce Block talks about all of that kind of stuff, layout and composition and all of those things. Those are all things that are going to affect your storyboarding. And then on top of that, you need to be a good artist in drawing, being able to draw characters' expressions and emotions and be clear with that. So there's that as well. So it's storyboard artists to me have to be incredibly well-seasoned artists to be successful at what they do, and especially if you can be really well-rounded. I just put that where I didn't want it to be. There we go. So I pretty much got all the drawings in that I want to get in. I've got a couple slow-ins here. Actually, I'll just go ahead and do them. Let's just do them. Because we've only been at this for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I got just a few drawings I can do right here.
So I am an annual premium member. When and where do you do your giveaways? I'm also a huge fan.
Our giveaways?
Giveaways.
We haven't done any giveaways in quite some time. I'm not sure I know what you mean by giveaways. But we've got a partnership with Joaquin where we're going to be doing some giveaways there. We just haven't finalized everything. It's going to be in the next few weeks.
Oh, congratulations, Colby. Hell yeah, I survived 3 weeks in hospital with COVID-19. And now I get to see Aaron and Dustin. Good day to be alive.
Oh,
That's
it is
awesome.
a good day to be alive. I'm glad you are alive.
Congrats.
Because according to half the people I see on Facebook, you actually just survived a hoax.
Yeah, people think that.
Yeah, I am so glad you made it. I'm glad you're here with us.
Also, are we? Are you a Marvel Avengers fan, or are you a Justice League DC fan?
I'm not really either. I mean, if I was pushed, I'd probably like Marvel better just because of the movies. I think the movies are way better. But I was never much of a comic book kid growing up. I was always a little animal nature nerd. I was always outdoors. You know, instead of reading comic books, I was out, you know, fishing and chasing animals and climbing trees and doing all that. I had a lot of friends that were comic book enthusiasts, but I just didn't. I did get comic books every once in a while, but I never read them. I just got them so I could copy, so I could draw them. That's how I learned anatomy. A big part of the way I learned, or at least the initial stages of anatomy, was looking at comic books. I just didn't really read them. So you can see how close these in-betweens are. They're super, super tight. Do you have any old Brother Bear storyboards that you would like to share with us that were never seen before? To be honest with you, I don't have any, and there are some that you can see that have never been shown before in our, if you look at the DVD set for Brother Bear, there's a section in there where we go over some of the songs that didn't make it into the movie and that were storyboarded, and so that's the only place where those exist. I really don't have any in my collection.
Some Instagram viewers are asking if you can zoom out a little bit so they can
How about that?
see some of it. That should work. And TV Paint is on Mac. In fact, currently working on a Mac computer right now.
Yeah, I'm using a Mac right now.
Oh, Yeah, TV Paint is available for both Mac and PC. Now, was TV Paint was exclusive to PC first?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I thought it was always.
Now you do have to download a PC version or a Mac version.
Yeah, but that's with most, if not all,
Everything.
other apps.
Yeah.
But there are like exclusive apps that do eventually go to the other side. So
Yeah, like ScreenFlow only works for like when I do this. ScreenFlow is only Mac.
yeah, I know that. But I wonder if was TV Paint always. Was it like just Windows and then they recently...
I just said I don't know. That's, you're just asking me the
Nick.
same question in a different way.
Nick, answer the thing. Do you know, Dad? Do you know the...
Oh my God.
Ooh. Ooh.
All right. 2 drawings left for this one.
Is TV Paint on iPad as well?
No, I don't think so. YouTube question. I miss animation like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes. They are very good animation to me. What do you think? I loved them. I grew up on that. That's the stuff I grew up on for Saturday morning. Just absolutely loved it. Nick says giveaways are randomly selected and sent out. We give away. Oh yeah, my original sketches and things like that. Yes, we do those. I wasn't thinking about that, but we need to catch up on that a bit. Yeah, we haven't done any in a while, only because we've been focusing on getting new courses done. That's one of the things I want to do. If you're a yearly member, I want to make it worth your while. So I'm trying to get more courses done. You know, so it makes it worth your while.
How do you switch between cameras always? We use a system called Dustin Do the Thing.
Dustin, do the thing.
And so what it is connected to Dad's computer. I can't really bring it over here, but we use what's called a Stream Deck, in which you can find it on Amazon or Newegg. It's all these different buttons, and you can program the buttons through OBS or whatever software you're using to stream to create different scenes. So, like if you want one with both Dad and I together, or if you want just Dad, or no camera at all. And you can switch on the fly when you program the buttons just right.
Button. Who's got the button?
Who's got the button? Who's pushing my button?
One more in betwixt. Ah.
I made a funny joke of you cough, everyone else is heavy sweating like, oh no.
He's got the Rona.
He's got it. Coffin dancers appear. Oh God.
Aaron, do you only sketch your animations and fully tie them down? Did you ever do inking during your time at Disney, or were you only responsible for rough animation? Has anything changed now? Yes, I never did any inking, and that only lasted for about the first year and a half that I was there, and then that all went away. We went digital with scanning our drawings. So I was only responsible for rough animation. And how are things changed now? Now everything's drawn digitally, if you draw at all. You know, if you're doing hand-drawn animation, it's being done basically the way I'm showing you right now. Different styles, of course, but it's all done the same way. So right here, I'm just doing drawing over drawing because I've got this slow in that happened, and I want the drawings to not just slam to a stop. So I'm slowly having them come to a stop so I get some nice fluidity to the shot.
Thank you for answering my earlier question. But also, why don't you guys use Twitch? You guys can get donations, etc.
We're on Twitch.
We do use Twitch. We're on 5 different platforms all at the same time, and we don't really have a donation tab there though, because we only do donations for very special occasions. Usually, usually we link that to a universal spot.
TV Paint was originally released for Amiga in 1991, version 3.0. 1994 introduced support for other platforms, Mac and PC.
Huh.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
The more you know. So this would be considered rough animation. This is how we would animate at Disney, and then our assistants would come through, cleanup artists, key assistants, in-betweeners, breakdown artists, and they would split up the scene and do all the drawings to get everything nice and pretty. So here, I'm going to pull this back. If I play this now,
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
so now you can see how the animation is smoothed
Stay
out.
back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
Yeah, one that feels like it's...
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
Oh, it's just pausing for 3 frames.
Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
So there you go.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just...
I'm going to turn off the sound for a second,
Turn off that sound.
just so we can see the animation. So you can see even something that feels kind of clunky in the beginning. This is pose to pose and straight ahead animation. Once you get all those drawings in there, then you can start to get some fluidity in there. And I'm following arcs. I'm doing stretch and squash, doing a lot of different things, slow ins and slow outs. Those are all the things that add a pleasant kind of fluidity, a pleasant kind of flow to the animation. And so that's it. So there you go. That's how I break down my animation using TV Paint. And yeah. Once again, remember, I'm going to play this, I'll put sound on one more time, just so we can hear it again.
Again and again.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud. Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
And so what I want you to see,
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
what I'd like you to see, I'm going to turn off the sound again, it's just, when I slide through this, you turn off my lights, you can see how stretchy and squashy we get. I want you to see how far you can push, and it really doesn't get picked up. And that's the thing. When we animate, we try to make sure that we're really pushing everything, because when it actually plays at speed, everything kind of normals out. I don't know how else to explain it. It gets more normal. There's a big jump between here and here. Right there. Big jump. I'm going to let it go.
You're about to do one more thing, weren't you?
I was going to hit another drawing. Well, I want you to see the difference one drawing can make. So there is that big jump right there. Right there. So I want you to see how much of a difference one drawing can make.
One more thing.
Yeah, one more thing.
There it is.
There it is. We're going to see, you're going to see. You got to make sure that the arc is in the right place. It's going to be very, very subtle. but there will be a smoothness to this little section. It won't pop. When you watch it right now, it feels like it pops to me. And what I do need to see is the sound. I want to hear that sound. So I'm going to keep them in that R position. There, that der. Stay back there.
Stay back there.
Stay back there, bud. Where can I find good reference material for run-walk cycles on less common animals? For example, penguins, sea lions, and walruses. I don't know. YouTube. Look up those animals on YouTube. You'll see plenty of them there. I'm going to be doing a whole collection of animals just like that, specifically for animation. Like a little encyclopedia of locomotion.
Have you tried Clip Studio Animation for iPad? If so, can you offer a tutorial?
No. No,
Okay,
no, and no. There you go. I've never used it. Bring that down a little lower.
I might be all out of questions.
It's all right. Might be all out of drawings here in just a second. I'm gonna scribble this out really fast.
Not even a one more thing?
No. Hands going down. Hands going down there. Hands coming up here. All right, here. Draw it fast. Get it wrong fast. In this case, we'll have it right. There, let's see if that smoothed it out at all. It's going to be very imperceptive, very hard to perceive, but we'll see.
Whoa. Just stay back there, bud.
See, it doesn't pop in that little section anymore.
Just stay back there, bud.
It just has a nice fluid, smooth movement through there.
Stay back there, bud.
And it used to pop. And it's amazing what one frame can do. How much we can perceive.
Just stay back there, bud.
It's amazing how much we can perceive one frame. And so in that one little section where it pops, I just added that one little drawing and it added a little butter in there. You know, just a little butter, a little smoothness.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So.
Just something to make you go, yeah, that's nice.
Whoa.
What the?
Hey, I've got Peoria, Illinois calling me.
How about no?
I gotta answer this. This is my bathroom guy. Hold on. Hello? Hey, how you doing? Okay, no problem. Okay, thanks. Bye. So my bathroom guy is not going to be here till about 4:30. He hit traffic. He was supposed to be here after 3. But anyway, we are done. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you learned something. Animation's fun, huh?
Yes, it is. It's a lot of fun.
It is quite nice.
It is great.
And yeah, once you get those, for the person that asked me about, you know, not liking to do the in-betweens, do you need them? Yeah, well, you know, you get the in-betweens in there and you get all that nice fluid, smooth action, and it makes a big difference in my mind. So yes, do your in-betweens. It's good. It's good discipline. And also remember, this is the last weekend to get my oil painting course, which is about 15 or 16 hours. I take you through the entire process of painting this big oil painting that I did when I got back from Africa. Everything from materials, types of paint, types of canvases, all that stuff, right down through the process of actually doing it. And you can get that whole course for $1. So even if you don't oil paint right now, it's worth your time to go and grab it, just in case you did decide to at some point, because like I said, it's like 16 hours of content for $1. Why did we do that? Why did we make it $1? That was ridiculous. Oh, because I want to give back to you guys. That's why.
Of course.
I can't believe it's not butter.
I can't believe it's not.
Yeah, Instagram question: is that made up of bear? Bear?
Bear.
But anyway, so going over, and also, it's not just that course that's $1. All of our Photoshop brushes are $1. My introduction to animation, which is basically what I went through today, I've got a whole course on that, and that's free. You can download that for free. So going over to creatureartteacher.com, and you'll find all kinds of great stuff. I hope you guys had a great time today. Stay safe, because all the COVID stuff is all spiking again. And if you're our friends down in Brazil, please, please, please stay safe down there. I know you guys are going through a hard one down in Brazil, and I want you guys to stay safe. Wear your face masks. Stay away from big crowds. Yeah, just do what you can, and we'll keep in touch. So until we see you again on Tuesday at 9 a.m., I want you to have a great weekend. Put some beauty back into the world. Be nice to somebody, and I will see you Tuesday.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Glad you guys enjoyed this stream. And if you guys are interested in any wildlife photography, especially on Instagram, for all you newcomers here, you can check out my Instagram at Dustin_Blaze. Again, that's Dustin_Blaze. And I post a new wildlife photo each day. And to also, if you're interested in any reference photo packs, for any of you guys who are trying to get some new anatomy out there, I also have a photo pack available at creatureartteacher.com. And there are 2 separate packs, and there are a total of 650 photos in total. And I think they're still at 50% off. Are they still?
Yeah.
Still that? Yeah, so they're 50% off right now because they're brand new. So go over there, check those out. Hope you guys like those. And we'll see you guys next week. And until then, Cowboy Bebop. See you guys.